This is Patrick Ricey for the Canopy Group. As you set out to explore Minnesota this summer, just know this. There are 234 cities in Minnesota with populations over 2,500. The Canopy Group has customers in all but 7 of those. Unbelievable. Why is this fact important? Because the Canopy Group's experience in these Minnesota cities gives them a unique edge in providing you the comprehensive home and auto insurance options you want. Remember, the Canopy Group offers 16 insurance companies for a reason, to help match your specific situations, including your zip code, with an insurance company that meets your needs. This is done for you every year because your specific situation may change. It is also true that the insurance company's appetites that you're with now might change as well. The experience working throughout Minnesota provides thousands of Canopy Group customers with peace of mind, knowing that the Canopy Group is working for you. To learn more, visit thecanopygroup.com today. How much research have you done on Oakmont, sir? Have you read up much on it?
Enough to know that they're another course that made the foolish decision to get rid of all their trees.
Yeah. Now, originally, I was reading about Oakmont. Originally, they had no trees. And they planted. They went like everybody else. They planted.
I've heard this story.
They planted trees. But the story I read a couple of days ago, because they had no trees, the golf course designers that we brought over from Scotland, and they were all sadists. They wanted, if you did not hit the fairway, they wanted to torture you, right? Or if you did not hit an accurate shot. Now, they were hitting at 150 yards then, or probably 180. But so they put in 237 sand traps or something at Oakmont, some ungodly number. But what they did is they got this heavy, kind of almost wet sand, and then they raked it. They had the Oakmont rakes, great big heavy rakes that weighed like 50 pounds apiece, and they kept furrows, so the traps were all furrowed. So the idea was if you hit it in there, the ball would be sitting in one of these furrows, and it was going to cost you at least a stroke. And sometimes the furrows were so thick that you had to hit it out sideways because you couldn't hit it up in the air enough.
Now, they're saying Oakmont back in 1890 or whenever they built it didn't have trees.
No.
All right, I'm hearing about a local course when it came into play in 1888, no trees.
Yes.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did this country have any trees?
I don't know.
Where did the trees come from?
The neighborhood I live in.
We used to cut down trees to make houses and stuff. Yeah. Somebody had trees.
Yeah, I know.
Where were the trees?
I agree with you. Apparently, the only place you could build a golf course was some prairie that nobody wanted. But the neighborhood I live in is started building houses there like in 60, 61, this area on the other side of Bassett Creek. Now, Bassett Creek had to have trees, but apparently it was sat up here on a little bit of a rise, and there were no trees because everybody had these crappy, the ones that look like the witches' trees. What are they?
Not willows.
We had willows. We had a willow.
I like
in our
a willow.
backyard. Yeah, but they're terrible trees. They're fast growers.
Okay, but
what I'm saying is they put in all these rotten silver elms and stuff. The fast growing trees, was all of them.
Yeah.
And but so apparently that prairie was like no trees there.
I mean, there must have been trees in what is now the Boundary Waters area.
Oh, God, yes.
Because that's where they did lumber work.
We couldn't have been up there
Well,
planting trees.
so some places were just bald.
Yes, that's right.
And then you'd drive a little bit, and then all of a sudden, full of trees.
Yes. I know. You're right. Because every golf course that does this tree thing, I'll say, well, we're getting back Minnetonka.
Yeah.
How could Minnetonka not have had trees?
They had to have trees.
Sitting on the water there,
Trees are an invasive species.
Yes, right.
Is Oakmont the course with the freeway through it?
No, I don't think
What
so.
am I thinking of?
Or maybe. Something
Look
out
that
east.
up, Reeves.
All right.
Is Oakmont bisected by a freeway? I think it's Oakmont.
Maybe.
Where you got to cross the freeway.
Okay. It's supposed to be just miserable.
Oh, is it? The rough, you were mentioning the rough.
Yeah.
Yes, a section of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, Interstate 76, runs
did not know
directly
that.
through Oakmont Country Club, a prestigious golf course in Oakmont,
I
Pennsylvania.
think it has been there more than any other place, right?
It's been there before the freeway.
You know
Yes.
what? If you guys were to do play-by-play at Oakmont, Pat
have-
could give the freeway
We have
story.
something to talk about.
You know, Joe.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Joe, I got to tell you about this freeway.
Meanwhile, Scheffler would have had made 2 birdies to take the lead.
I got to tell you about this freeway first.
76, she runs right through the middle.
Yeah, right.
A lot of people on 90, 75 now, they're going north. And it used to be 41. It was the only thing they had was 41.
Scheffler lighting up a putt. Yeah, don't forget that, Joe. We got to talk about that.
I made notes. I'm going to get through them all.
Oh, my God. That's right. You know what's amazing me, though? They are, now, if they play just a routine golf course, they're going to shoot 28 under, right? Now, today. But it's amazing how difficult they can make these things.
The rough is terrible there.
Have to hold up. Yeah, but rough. You make the freeway. You make the freeways, the fairways, a little short. Less wide, I suppose. I think part of
I hear what you're saying, Pat. We need more freeways on golf courses. Let's challenge these guys.
Yeah. Joe, you know what?
I'm looking up something
You know
for
what
us,
I
but go
think's
ahead.
a big deal now? If you got a fairway that's a little slanted to the corners. In other words, it doesn't, you got to hit it in the middle of the fairway. Otherwise, it's going to run over to the rough. I bet Oakmont's like that, too, because there's some reason it's so damn tough.
Who has won
At Oakmont?
the Open? Oh, you know what?
You want me to do it for you,
I
Brad?
wonder
won
what
the
I
Open
could have
at Oakmont?
accomplished in life if I could have typed.
Yes. You're a touch typist, though, aren't you?
I can't type.
What are you trying to look for?
Who has won Open at Oakmont? I'm almost there.
You know what
I think Ernie Els has won.
Yes. When I had my baby stroke, I couldn't use this finger for 2 days.
Oh, no.
And I told the wife, I'd trade a foot for this finger.
I'll give you a foot.
I'll give you.
Which finger couldn't you use?
That's one.
Oh,
One of my
that's
three.
crucial.
I got the list. You ready?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
Tommy Armour in 1927. Sam Parks.
They didn't have it there till 27.
Yep.
Okay.
Sam Parks Jr. in 1935. Ben Hogan in 1953. Nicholas in 1962. Johnny Miller in 1973. Larry Nelson in 1983. Ernie Els in 1994, Angel Cabrera in 2007, and Dustin Johnson in 2016.
When he still cared.
When he cared about golf.
Yeah, that was. That's a pretty distinguished group. Larry Nelson.
So they get it about every 10 years
Larry
or so?
Nelson. Yeah, they get it.
Now, Miller, that's when he shot the 63 in Oakmont.
there? Was
yeah.
it there?
Well, that's when he won the Open at
Yeah.
Oakmont,
Yeah,
73.
that's his only one. That's his only one. Yeah, 63. Yeah. What's par though? Do they keep it at 72?
Well, that's something Reavers have to look up.
What do you need?
What's par at
at
Oakmont?
I gotcha.
One thing they do is at these courses is they take some par fives and turn them into par fours when the pros show up to keep
The par for Oakmont is 70.
Yes. Okay. So in other words, the
Here's-
members probably play it at 72.
I do recall us talking extensively about Dustin Johnson's win in 2016 because of the post-game celebration. I believe
with Pauline.
with Polina.
Paulina, yes, Paulina.
Yeah, she's over.
I bet she doesn't even go to Live.
Probably
I bet
not.
she doesn't. She can't even stand Live. She probably doesn't. She's got a brood of babies.
Speaking of that, by the way, have you seen Wayne's really good on the hockey analysis, Joe?
Who?
Is he?
Wayne.
Well, does that surprise you?
Well, I guess I didn't. Sometimes those guys.
I always thought he was boring, didn't you, Joe?
Wayne?
Wayne?
Well, he wasn't a great quote.
No.
But
he's
Because he was on after the game 2 went into what, double overtime?
We got to get rid of these hockey overtimes, man. It's ridiculous.
I made it through the entire first overtime Friday night.
I'm giving you one
was Friday
overtime.
Yep.
Then let's go 3-on-3.
Not in the finals.
Yes.
No.
You can't play all night. It's ridiculous.
Well,
It's ridiculous. I mean, our Frosties, they're specialists.
Well, they're a dynasty.
2-3 overtime dynasty. Has there ever been a team this is the first time in hockey that a team won 4 one-goal overtime games. The first time.
You know why?
In hockey. Okay.
Battle tested.
Yes.
This is what a dynasty does.
Oakmont was founded by a steel magnate.
Okay.
Pittsburgh's Henry Founds, who 1856 to 1935. He went to St. Andrews, came back, and in 1903-04, he wanted to build the most difficult golf course in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Well, let me stop you right there.
Yeah, right. I mean,
How difficult could that have been?
Yeah, right.
Would they have a million courses in Pittsburgh?
In 1890, they had 2.
He found 150 laborers to dig vast pits for bunkers and to drain the land with lateral trenches that served double duty as hazards.
How old was Henry when he died? So it was 67 or
1856 to 1935.
Oh, so damn near 80. Yeah. Those...
Founds designed it.
Oh, really?
He designed it. It was his only course. It's one of the greatest in golf history.
Yeah. So, you know what? You find out those old capitalists that in a society in which people routinely lived into their 40s, those old bastards all lived to be 70 or 80 because, of course, they weren't in the steel mills eating dust. They were just collecting their money that made them operate.
They had the good job.
Mm-hmm. They got that famous church pew bunker on 3.
Yes. They have, I wonder, do they still have 200 and some bunkers? They get rid of some. They got some ungodly number of bunkers.
Now, Herbert Warren Wind, the great who invented the term Amen Corner and
all that.
Writer for the New Yorker, he termed Oakmont in 1953 as an ugly old brute of a course. Mm-hmm. The judgment resonated with the members who then embarked on an aggressive tree planting program for the next 3 decades, to the point where by the 1994 U.S. Open, Oakmont was densely tree-lined with each hole encased in its narrow corridor of leafy canopies.
And then we started taking the trees out when?
That changed in the late 90s when the maintenance crew selectively peeled back trees in the earliest of the morning before anyone would notice.
Hey, wasn't there? They all thought they were hitting the ball straighter instead of they weren't behind a tree.
Oakmont was back to its original look, nearly treeless, except for one specimen, an American elm on the far side of the golf course. Well, what the hell? I want to see some trees.
Yeah, I like trees.
I'm not against trees, Pat.
No.
I'm pro-tree.
Yes.
It's going to be, I'll tell you what, it can get hot there if it's no trees.
Oh, really?
Well, there's no shade.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the weather forecast?
I don't know.
Well, you have to, if they're getting our weather, they're going to freeze to death.
There is literally no trees on Oakmont. None.
They turned it into a forest, and then they deforested
They deforested.
Wow.
So there you have it. Oakmont starts this week,
Yes.
Wait, is it this weekend?
Yes.
This weekend ain't Father's Day.
Yes, it is.
The 15th?
Sunday is Father's Day.
I thought that was always around the 20th or something.
That's a little early.
Well, is it the third third Sunday?
I don't
So
know.
this
I
would
think
be the
so.
third.
Yeah.
I wish we'd have a West Coast U.S. Open because you can't beat that Saturday night at 9 p.m. They're still
Oh, God,
playing.
yes.
I love that.
That's
Now,
right.
in your home, does the CP have the same philosophy as you do? Where she walks around saying, he ain't my father.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but, the grandkids should be involved now.
I'll get a
too.
card.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Here's a tie.
Yes, right. Yes.
I don't need a tie. I don't wear ties. Now, did you watch any of the Canadian Open?
No.
Went to four playoff
The
holes.
field of players was so unimpressive that
Four
I
or
did not
five
listen.
playoff holes. Ryan Fox beat Sam Burns.
Never heard of it. I was shocked to learn that Ryan Fox had already won a tournament, although it was one of those backup tournaments.
I believe he's a New Zealander.
The Myrtle Beach he won, which is not it's a second-rate event when you have one of those.
Can you tell me why the Canadian Open had nobody in the field? Nobody.
They stopped playing it a couple, 3 years ago. I don't know why it is, but
They're all waiting. They all were at Oakmont, maybe?
yeah, I'm sure they didn't. How about Rory shooting 82?
What was that?
That illegal driver. He needs that illegal driver that he won the Masters back with.
Either that or he had plans as long as she was back in
He
England.
said he said
I don't know if she was in
no,
England.
No. He said the new driver, he has not figured it out yet. And I think he switched again this time, and it didn't work. I got news for him. If he arrives at Oakmont and not being able to hit it straight, he's going to be in trouble because he's going to be in a lot of bunkers.
He'll be in bunker trouble, but ain't no tree trouble.
No, that's true.
You can hit it as far as wide or.
Is that custom for a guy to switch his driver in the middle of the
They're
season?
always tinkering, Chris.
I see.
They all got workrooms full of golf clubs.
Joe, I got to tell you a little yarn about today. Newspapers, as you know, but even your sports writing days and for decades afterwards, if you were not at an event, you did not byline it and write it because you might put the date line on it, you might write it, and then you'd have a little tagline at the bottom so people didn't think you were at the event.
Right.
But now, since COVID, the greatest thing that happened to newspapers, because they now have learned to write gamers off Zoom and not have to send people to various places, and I keep forgetting that the fact that we have a byline on a story doesn't mean we were there.
Okay.
So today, Kent Youngblood has a Lynx story. And I
see it right here.
I see the byline, and I assume it's here. Mm-hmm. So I look at the box score. I don't really study it, but I see the attendance is 6,100. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, let's face it, our Lynxies, they're
undefeated.
They fought gamely for the national championship last year.
Yep.
And then they're 9-0, and they only have 6,100.
Yeah.
So I put out on Blue Sky, not Tweet, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
What's going on here? What's wrong with the Lynx fans? Mm-hmm. It was in
Dallas.
Dallas. So, and I kind of didn't pay any attention to.
Right.
I did that at 7 a.m, and then I read and went down to the dungeon and read and did some other stuff.
Well, so how did Kent Youngblood do this game story?
He watches it on TV, and then they got Zoom press conferences
Now, at
afterwards.
the end of the story, where they tell me that he wasn't there.
No, we stopped doing that.
Then this is deceptive.
Well, it's deceptive. Does it say Dallas?
No.
They don't have an Arlington dateline.
By Kent Youngblood, Minneapolis Star Tribune, and then goes right into the story.
And he just says in Arlington. Well, I didn't. I got to admit, I didn't read the story. Anyway, I made fun of them. So the Blue Sky world has had great fun with me. Hey, Ricey, you idiot. But that game wasn't here. But I have made the decision not to delete it. I think it should stand
there forever.
To see what everybody's, otherwise people are responding to something that's no longer there.
Yeah.
So, but here's the good news. Being the Lynx expert that I am, I have been charged with Saturday's noon game where they are retiring Simone Augustus's jersey. And that's I can give a lot of my Lynx expertise after that game. Yes.
You know what the girls are doing? The WNBA gals.
Yeah.
They're when they enter the building,
They're all dressed up.
It's like a fashion show.
Yes, they have
The best one.
TV's waiting to film it. And
they have a beautician that cleans them and makes them.
They got them all scrubbed up.
My favorite was when Angel Reese decided to do this, and Whitlock said, "Look at that outfit on her way to getting 4 points and 2 rebounds." Boy, does he love torching her on social media.
She played good last year, but I don't think she's off to a good start this year. I don't know.
Have you seen this
she
account?
had a lot of rebounds.
There's a group of 4 guys that have become kind of a social media sensation because they bet every game that Angel Reese is going to miss her first layup.
Oh, really?
And then they'll show themselves celebrating, catching another check.
Caitlin even makes the attempt, but she strikes me as someone who doesn't really, not that interested.
Caitlin's, I don't, in the day, we would have called her a tomboy.
A tomboy, exactly.
She doesn't have, she's not a.
But she's got to
She's
get
a great athlete. She's not a. She's never going to be a sex symbol.
No, she'd just soon show
I don't
up in her T-shirt and jeans.
That's right. She is. I think she's, having discovered her, I think she's a great
But
kid.
you are the discoverer.
Yeah, but she was, when I discovered her, she wasn't worried about fashion for good. She was worried about making jump shots from 30 feet away.
Well, she's a fashion show now.
Yeah, it's weird to say the least. But that's that. But of course, my most embarrassing Lynx moment was their first when they started. Their I've told you this 100 times. Their superstar was Katie Smith, who had played here 2 years. And when I was in the Sydney Olympics, I had to introduce myself to Katie. I met Katie in Australia, even though she'd played 80 games over here at Target Center. So I really was ignoring them in the early years. But I wish I had ignored them. I wish I had ignored them this morning because that was, but that's fun, too.
Why the expanded travel days in both the NBA and NHL?
Oof. I think it's the day they want to be on TV.
No, man.
It is
this
funny.
This is going on way too long.
Yes. I'm very fearful my Oilers are not going to win, though.
The Oilers needed to go back to Florida with a 2-games lead, and they lost in overtime.
Too much overtime.
Yeah.
Hey, the Trump effect was in evidence at the ballpark this week. Not many Blue Jays fans there over the weekend.
Really?
Yeah, they might have had 3,000-4,000. Other years they've had.
They pack them,
6,000, 7,000, 8,000. They might have had 4.
There was a British car gathering in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. The Rendezvous, which is annual. It switches towns from year to year. Last year was in Thunder Bay. I went. I didn't go this year. Very few Canadians.
Really?
That's my report. It was very few Canadians because they don't want to do it.
No, they don't. They might. They're afraid somebody's going to, if they have a friend who comes from another country, they might end up in jail, So
You think they're protesting the tariffs? The Blue Jay fans?
No, I think they're protesting him.
Gotcha.
Saying that he's going to turn it into a state.
Detroit.
Which, you know what? What happens to old Canada if we turn it into a state? Because can we keep it?
We're not turning Canada into a state.
Were you there? Forgive me if Joe already asked you. Were you there yesterday?
No, I was.
You there Saturday?
Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, because whoever did Canada yesterday, because I was listening to the radio on my way to our town ball game, whoever that was fantastic.
It might have been the same gal. Was it a young lady?
It sounded, yeah.
Might have been the same young lady.
Oh, it was really good.
The young lady that had won a contest.
Okay.
So she might have sung it again.
I should look that up. Because whoever did it, that was really good when I was listening.
And we had, our the guys that raised the flag on Saturday. Now one of them was a Canadian soldier, but and they were.
And you got both anthems, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. But the trouble is, we didn't have our usual 97-year-old Vietnam or World War II vet. We had young guys on Saturday. I like it when the old guys do the play.
For sure.
We had a guy a couple weeks ago, 98, World War II, Vietnam, the whole deal. He cranked that puppy himself.
Really?
No help. He had a couple of sons there with him, and they get away from me. He cranked that baby himself.
Good for him.
Yes.
And speaking of that,
But unfortunately for him, that was the day when we had a professional singer. I think that was when we had the trumpet guy.
okay.
I hate the trumpet.
You don't like the trumpet guy?
The saxophone guy, one of those guys. No, I want grade school kids who are singing real fast so they don't forget the words.
Get her
That's what I
going.
want. 55 seconds back.
Speaking of that, Tony the Pony did the game on the radio yesterday.
Yes, Chris is.
I listened to
Chris
it.
took a little leave, so.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
anyway, but he'll be fine.
Okay.
He'll be back. But Tony, Tony.
There's something wrong with him?
No, he's going to be okay.
He took a vacation.
He
Okay.
just took a little time.
I
off.
had never heard LaPantha do baseball before. He did a really good job. I enjoyed it.
he's good.
Yeah.
That was Tony the Pony.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
7 back of the Tigers.
Tigers, man, they're good.
Yes,
Yeah,
they are.
must be, man.
You know what they can do? They can
Pitch.
pitch.
They can pitch.
Holy crap, can they
They
pitch?
pitch, yeah. They,
You know, they've won more games than anybody in baseball.
Best record,
Yes.
Joe.
yes.
43 and 24. Not even the high-paid Dodgers are that good. They're 39
The Dodgers
and 27.
have 14 pitchers on the DL. Now,
They're
I'm
too
sure
tight.
some of them are triple. They are too
Too tight.
They're all too tight.
That's right.
Baseball
tight.
is really drawing. I'm pleased to notice that.
Not so much here, but the weekends are good. Yeah, the weekends are good. A lot of places.
You know what it was?
Colorado, though.
I was just
think-
gonna say.
Are you going to make the drive?
I
You
might
gonna
have
take
to.
The boys?
I might have to
For
because
what?
to see the Twins Rocky series.
Twins
in
are
July.
at Denver, but the problem is I don't think it's going to work out with the boys' state tournament baseball schedules. Is the only problem. But if it wasn't falling on one of those weekends, I 100% would do it.
Lukey's 14-year-old team won some tournament, the East Ridge, whatever they are,
Where were they at?
this weekend. So
They weren't up in Wilmer, were they?
No, they qualified the playoff. They beat Hopkins and some teams like that, and they're in the state tournament. But you know what they're doing? They're going to Omaha,
Really?
and they're in that. And then Omaha's got like these incredible number of youth teams. They went down there last year, and all of a sudden, there's a bunch of scrawny kids from Woodbury who are just their own team, you know,
Right.
and they're playing the Texas All-Stars from Dallas and
I
stuff,
talked to a-
getting their ass kicked, you know.
I spent time over the weekend with an expert on youth baseball.
Okay.
And he was not bemoaning, he was explaining the lack of black kids playing baseball.
Yeah, yes.
It's become a suburban phenomenon.
Yes.
And a lot of money's required for the traveling.
Not only that.
But
And
the equipment.
the bats are expensive.
Yes.
And a kid, like he said, my kid's got a game, and he mentioned some town that was far away from his home. He said, well, his mother can take him there. The inner city kid, is he going to be able to get a ride from his mom to the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly economics, a lot of it.
And he said it's become a suburban game.
Yes. it
100%. Yep.
is. Yeah. it
Not a
is.
city game. It's
Joe,
still a country
Joe,
game.
they got bats that these youths are using that cost $300.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It is.
Of course,
Agreed.
hockey sticks
Are
are
you
that much.
invested that heavily?
I said when you can start hitting over 300, I'll buy you a $300 bat.
And so you're saying that's not a hit, that was an error.
Right. Well, it's not even that. It's just, right now, because they keep growing. I mean, crying out loud, Williams grown 5 inches in the last 18 months.
Yeah.
Well, what's baseball going to do about this? I guess it's
And
not. It's
not
not
gonna have it,
a.
they're just going to not.
It's a first world problem.
6.2% of the players in Major League Baseball this year are African Americans.
But it used to be you could rattle off the names of famous players, and they were black.
The 1965
Yeah.
National League All-Star team, which played here, had 6 black players, American, African-American players, and in the starting lineup.
Yep.
Then they had Frank Robinson and Billy Williams as backups.
Wow.
And then they had Bob Gibson on the pitching staff. I think they had they had 10 black guys, and that's on a 25-player all-star team. And now, and if you wondered why the National League was better, the American League had Earl Batty, Elston Howard, one pitcher, and some backup infielder.
Pro rosters are going to be full of guys named Chase and Duffy.
Yeah, and then Puerto Ricans, and I mean
Dominicans.
They got Latin. 30% of the big league players are Latin American.
So, Joe, on this little app, it's called Game Changer. I'm sure you're familiar.
Yeah, we get the games on it.
I got one right here to follow the boys getting their ass kicked down in Omaha.
There's a lot of Jacksons, JXSONs, and a lot of Eastons and a lot of that stuff going on.
Yeah.
And don't the parents have to fork over some dough for a kid to play in a traveling league?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, why don't they provide a bus then? Why does mom have to take them?
Because those fees are for things like uniforms and umpires and things like that.
Some of them do take buses, but there's one thing more expensive: hockey.
Yeah.
Hockey, they have $200. What was your most expensive stick?
Oh, hell, not over
$4.
Not over $10.
They got $220 sticks that they break.
This guy I was talking to was particularly struck by the irony of his kid, all white kids,
Yes.
playing at Triton Field, home of Kirby Puckett.
Yes. Yeah, that is amazing.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is right in the middle of Chicago, practically.
The Byron Buxtons of the world, because he was a star running back and could have gone D1 in college.
What town? Where's he from?
Baxley, Georgia.
Georgia.
Outside of Atlanta an hour or something. But you're not, with NIL now, you're not going to get any of these kids.
No.
Okay, he was the number 2 draft choice, so he got a lot of money. But if you're not a first rounder,
to hell with you.
If you're a great athlete, you can go to Alabama and they'll pay you $1.5 million, right off the bat. So,
or basketball too, right? That they're going to those kids are, if they're not going to play football, then they're going to go play basketball.
How are we supposed to handle this? College players getting paid.
I think we're just supposed to treat. I used to always get, he's a college kid, leave him alone. Not anymore.
Nope.
They're at least now the U is going to have NIL money. Most of it PJ gets to keep, but they're going to have it for 5 sports with this agreement. But they're not.
Each school has to provide its own funding.
Yeah, basketball, both sports, men's hockey, and volleyball, I believe. But not. There's going to be Title IX lawsuits here that they'll survive the Trump era, right? This thing, they'll survive the Trump era. But if they get a semi-liberal Democrat in, and it'll get in front of some judge, and then they're going to have to, then they're going to have to give the women athletes half the money. So
why isn't the NAAC? What is it?
NCAA.
NCAA.
They can't do anything. They just don't want you to sue them now.
Well, but there should be a pot of money equally distributed among D1 teams. In other words, this is going to become the Dodgers and the Twins.
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, but in football, it's always been. In football, it really hasn't. Not too many teams pop up in football.
We got to cheer for our underpaid Gophers.
Well, our Gophers, though, whatever they're getting they're going to get about 14 of the 21 million for football, maybe a little less than that. But then they're also going to get, 10, 12 million from their other. They're going to have a $30 million roster here.
Yep.
God almighty.
Well, what did Ohio State have last year? What did you say?
I don't know what it was. It was some ungodly
21 something or other, I think, million.
Yeah, now it's going up. It's going up.
I don't
but
like
I like it because I can just
You can rip them
ignore
now.
them and rip them.
Or you can rip them. They're getting
I
paid.
really don't do much with college sports.
They're professionals. You can rip them.
Yes, you're
What is this going to? Not that everyone was breaking their neck to get to class anyway, but what incentive now do you have to even get a degree?
every time that they come out with a new quarterly, we keep getting these. The university athletes have set a new record for their academic standing. They got 20 tutors now.
Yeah.
You don't need some Jan Gangelhoff. The secretary is the only one you can go to cheat. You got officially paid,
But if they're making $1 million a year, what do they care if they go to class?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, the Zoom era, in addition to newspapers, has been wonderful for colleges, too, because you got lazy-ass professors who don't want to come to campus, so they just have their classes on the Zoom,
I don't like that. I'm not a Zoom guy.
We know.
Yeah, I've never had a satisfactory experience with it.
Well, including the first time when we were doing the show remotely where we thought we'd have a GL Zoom happy hour, and you had a little trouble getting connected and then disconnected.
I just was very puzzled.
How do I get off this bleeping
I don't
thing?
think it's a good thing. And now
I don't like it.
Now we got the AI where the parents who have just paid $200,000 to get their kids through college can't get a job because they got AI. We would have liked to have you, but we got AI. I don't think AI is good. I'm
not an AI guy, but I don't understand it. I understand it. It's artificial.
It will be the ruination of us all. AI.
I thought robots were. But they are AI, aren't they?
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, we're almost done.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. I am done today because I told you when I came in there, my good knee feels worse than my bad knee.
See, that's got to be the rain.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I was in the pool and I was paddling around and I'm kicking my leg. I get in there and I kick my legs to get them loose.
Yeah.
I think I might have kicked them a little too because
Let me ask you
underwater.
something.
You're underwater, so you can kick your legs.
It was 50 degrees this morning.
Yeah, but
You were heating it all night?
Oh, God, yes. What are you going to go turn it off and then you have to turn it back on to get back to that
This is
heat?
why you can do a dip when it's 50.
What is it, 90-degree water?
No, 84.
It's boiling.
84.
84. It's like
84.
soup.
I didn't see any steam.
What are
this morning.
steams?
I didn't see any steam this morning, but that day last week when it was 51, I went out and I said,
You had to take the dip through the steam.
I said, the money, but the ducks were happy, man.
Yeah.
The four.
Oh, yeah.
We got homosexual behavior among mallard ducks taking place.
How can you even tell?
They chase the girl off. The four guys chased. I don't know where she went, but they're out there, and I hear this squawking and quacking at night, and somebody's trying to have his way with another duck. I can tell that, so I go out there and chase him away.
Why don't you let the circle of life continue without interference?
Because if they jump up onto the ledge there, then you got duck poop there.
What bird makes this noise?
I can't help you.
A deranged toad, maybe?
Some bird was doing that up at the lake, and I was starting to look for it because I was going to take issue with it.
That's a pretty good imitation.
It just keeps going like that, though. What is that?
You know what we also have? We had a bunch of feral cats around the neighborhood, and then I think they left or somebody got smart and killed them. But there's still a couple left. So the other night I just heard this screech from a bird, something getting killed. So I looked down and flipped on a light, and there was one of those little cats walking by.
All right, Joe, according to the
lunch.
AI overview on Google, what bird makes the cluck sound, as I tried to describe it? A ruffed grouse.
Well, we don't have those.
Wouldn't have been a grouse.
Brown-headed cowbird.
Could have been.
A common, Gallinule, galline.
Whatever.
Or a grosbeak, an evening grosbeak.
Well, where were you? Where did you hear this?
Central Minnesota.
It might have been a grouse down there. They might have got a little
up there.
Up there.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, a grouse. That could have been a grouse.
Huh.
You know,
Looking for girl. I think they're looking for girls
That's
too.
what it
back
sounded like,
back to your duck problem. You know, you are the guy who for years now has been begging for a nice homosexual couple to come by my house.
Yes, right.
So maybe the ducks heard it on the podcast.
That's right.
Said, "Hey, he's all in, fellas. Let's go to this
That's
joint."
right. Well, we got everything you want. Come on. Make me an offer. Come on. And by the way, it'll be, what do they say when you sell it and don't take anything with you? Turnkey.
Oh, turnkey, sure.
Yes, make it turnkey.
You don't want to live in a building.
No, I don't, but
I can't live anywhere where I'd have to use an elevator to go outside.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
It's not going to happen.
And you won't rent a hotel
I'm
room.
not. I'm perfectly fine. We just, we have short stairways, so it's not all these 80-year-olds who had to. I don't want to walk up the steps anymore. So what the hell? It's 6 steps. You can make it. Come on, I can make it. So anyway, I don't mind homosexual ducks.
No,
I just don't like them pooping on my sky. I got nothing against them.
Have at it, fellas.
Yes, I don't care, but it's just it's loud too. It's just if you got the windows open, if it's a nice night,
Hey, fellas, keep it down out there.
Because it sounds like some of them might not be a willing partner.
Right. You think there's duress.
Yes, right. It's not what this one fellow was looking for. I guess he said
We have a
whatever.
duck couple.
Yes,
We
right.
do.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They like the
They like the yard.
neighborhood. They like the neighborhood. Yeah, they like the neighborhood. That's right. Yeah, we got more this year than we've ever had. We haven't had the dog now for 12 years or something, but that's one thing he was good. Get him out, chase him.
Very
away.
inclusive neighborhood.
Yes. All righty.
All right.
How about
Do
you
I
sell
gotta
us a
sell
car?
a car?
Yeah, you need
That's,
to sell us a car, sir.
I got to tell you about a little car mishap I had yesterday, though, would like to complain about. I was driving the wife's vehicle, and in Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, because we went out to dinner with Ryan and the family, and they're building these little ridges to protect when you're taking a right-hand turn on some of the city streets.
Okay.
Well, I banged into one of them because you look down and you don't see it, just so some jackass can ride their bike along there when you're making a turn. I don't like those little ridges. I scratched up the hubcap and got
Scuff marks.
and I got
It's
reprimand.
unlikely your car has hubcaps.
Well, whatever that is.
Rims.
Rims, yeah, rims.
Wheels.
Yeah, I scratched up the rims and I got reprimanded. I got reprimanded by the usual driver of
Game
that
of
car.
flaw.
Yes, right. And now, Joe, every time she goes out to the garage, she can look at
that.
Yeah, look at there. All right, but this has got nothing to do with buying an SUV at a great price from Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers out in Apple Valley. The Buick SUVs are fantastic. We still have 2024s at great prices, all kinds of 2025s, 3 or 4 varieties of SUVs, fantastic inventory, low interest rates. We have financial guys out there and guys and gals that'll take care of you. Make sure you can make it, fit your budget, and also a factory rebate. So this is the time to. Summer's here. Let's go. Come on, go out and check it out. The things get even more friendly in the summer out there. So check it out at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers in Apple Valley. I've been buying cars there for 12, 14 years, something like that.